I know I don't have a lot of followers on most of my social media, both personal and business, and the ones that mix both. So, um, for those that don't know, that have not seen most of the witchy content that I do at least, which I don't do a lot of on occasions, depending on which platform. Some I do more on certain accounts, some I don't on other accounts. Um, but I've been on the Draconic, and Draconian Path for a couple years. Um, and it is a lot, and it takes a long time, and it does not stop once you think you've stopped or ended. It's something that just keeps going and going and going. Um, some people tend to just stick to the main path, if that's even really a thing, which I don't entirely think it is. Some people just do like the borderline stuff. Sometimes I, like I said, I've only been on this for a couple years since I started in a way at the end of 2020, and then got really into it after that. Um, and I've been in it ever since. So, and I've met a lot of people that are on the path, both good and not so good. Though I will not mention that part. Um, but I've noticed that with this, that I've seen and have experienced post my own experience, um, that with this, it does also tend to create other paths along with it. Basically, you got the tree of the draconian tree. You start with like the base or the bar, the main part of the tree, which is where the idea and everything starts, or whatever you want to call it. The practice. Again, there's many words you can use for this, depending on which way you go. Um, and then you got, you know, the branches. Uh, like for instance, you got Dragon Wicca, Draconic Wicca, Draconian Wicca. That one I'm not as sure about. Um, but wouldn't be surprised if that was one too. Then you also have other versions of them as well that aren't Wicca related. And then you got branches that come off of those that other people have created in their own aspect of some sort of their practice. Some are personalized practices, so they're like tiny branches off of the main branch. And then some that have more public side, like more publicly posted their practice, which makes their branch just a little bit bigger. And it kind of just creates more people coming up with their own practice version of that. Um, and I have a list of people I had to write down so I wouldn't forget anyone that I know personally or know of in a way. Um, and some of them I consider friends. If they say otherwise, that's okay. Um, and all these people have their own way of their practice within this tree, so to say. Um, some of them I know a little bit about what they do, some of them I don't know a lot. So it's just kind of an example of the person I know that does certain things. Um, and people that I've recently come upon and people I've known for years since I started this. Like the people that I found all this out about, the first person that I met and saw that related anything along these lines was Alchemy of Spirit, or some people know her as Merlin. Sorry, my eyes don't want to focus right now. I don't know why. Um, and she's on every single platform that I know of. Most of the main ones, at least. She's where I started. And then from her, I branched off to Cecilia Hunt, also known as Draconian Ajob, bleh, sorry, Apedologist. I still butchered that, but I'm trying. I know how to say Egypt, I just can't say Egypt. Yeah. But she also has many accounts that also go off with many of her other practices as well. So that's just her main one. She's also gone by um Khaleesi, that dragon witch, and a couple of other names over the years that I've also known her. Um and then there's a couple of other people that I have met down the line, and some of them very recently. Um And then one of my friends that I met through all this, especially through Cecilia, is Elvie. And she goes by the Draconic Viola. Sorry if I said that wrong if you see this. Um, and with Merlin, she's more alchemy and she does other things as well. Like planetary dragons is another thing that she does. And then Cecilia Hunt, um, does do she I was one of her first mentees. She was my mentor for pretty much all of it. um and I consider her also a close friend, like Merlin and Elvie, even if we don't talk a lot. Um but with her, she, does uh trying to pronounce the word because I haven't heard it enough out loud with my own ears. But the Egyptian pantheon, I know it starts with a K, I just can't pronounce it right now. Um, she also does workings with APEP, and along with a lot of other things that aren't just those related, but those are her own branches. Um, and then Elvie, the Draconic Viola, sorry. She is more of the pagan draconic side, and amongst other things too that I've seen over the years that I've known her. Um, but those are like people I've known since I started this for the most part. And then people that I've met along the lines up until recently, the next person would be like the Voice of Dragons. I'm not going to say his actual name out loud, plus I feel like I would butcher it anyway if I tried. But he has his own way of his practice as well. I have been seeing his videos off and on over the years since I first saw him and kind of met him through Merlin, if I remember correctly, because that was like a long time ago when I first started seeing his videos. But that's like another one. He tends to work a lot with crystals and like what you can do with them, especially like alchemizing them too as well, amongst a lot of other things that I've seen. Like I learned about shungite through him. Like these are also things I've learned from these people as well. And like I will reference that when I can also remember too. I would mention one other person, but I don't know enough about him, only because I just learned about him somewhat recently. But I don't want to mention his name just because of that. And I don't know enough about his practice to say anything, so I'm not going to. But there's someone else I had on my list. I just put a question mark. The next person would be, she goes by Guardian 1031. I guess that's the best way to put it. She does her version of Draconic Wicca or Wiccan. She made her own. If I remember, based on what I've read and she's told me, she started off as Wiccan. Some stuff happened, and then found the path, and then kind of made her own version, combining the two, before she even realized that it was already a thing. But she made her own path with it, with all the information she could gather and could figure out on her own. And then another person is Topaz, and she has like a catalog of a lot of people on her information, which she's on Facebook mostly. She does have an Instagram, but Facebook tends to be her main account. The other people before these two have platforms on almost everything as well. Guardian has recently been updating because she wasn't really as active the last couple years up until recently, so she's still getting into that. But Topaz, it has like a very big and long catalog of just dragon magic in general. And I've noticed like recent posts about if I'm correct, Draconic paganism is one. She's also posted about Draconic Wicca, also mentioning Guardian 1031 as well as other people as well that have been on it for decades. And amongst other things, I don't know too much about Topaz in her own practice, but from what I have seen of her postings. I've been following her for a couple months now, since some stuff happened within the community, but and then I have my own practice, which I'm still writing everything out. I'm not going to say too much, but it is very chaotic, which is the whole definition of the Draconic and Draconian Path in general. Mine's just extremely chaotic and everywhere. But like we all have our own branch off of the main path or tree. Just to kind of give you like a visualization of how it looks. And I know most practices are like that. And I know our community is not very big at all. Especially not on today's platforms. I know a lot of it was more books in person, which is nowadays very hard to come by, to go back that way. Where now everything's online, but now it's trying to make sure, like, is this valid amongst other things, as well as making sure it resonates with what you believe and practice, as well amongst other things, taking what resonates and also realizing what's their experience versus what's, text, historical, amongst other things. I don't think I'm forgetting anything, but this is just a overall video of just kind of people creating their own paths within a path. And then, like I said, some people make it public, some people don't. Some people will mentor if they haven't already. Some people I know, obviously, how I happened to come upon this path anyway. Some people may end up mentoring others in their own version of their path. Some people might not. It's up in the air up until something happens for that to happen. So, if I ever do it, I don't know, because I don't even know where I would start. But I always like giving advice, and if I don't know enough about it, I either send links or I'm like, hey, this person knows enough about this. Here's that person, which I have done a lot, or at least I try to. And if there's a topic, I have no clue where to start, who to even go to, or who to send the person to. I'm like, I honestly don't know. And if I can't even think of the person that could help me figure out someone that could, like, hey, this person needs this, can you help? That kind of thing, which I've also done that. But sometimes I get asked questions. I try to answer honestly as best as I can. Sometimes it's hard to give factual evidence for some things, because especially on this path, it's not all book, or it's not all textbooks and stuff like that. It's experience, and that's one of the hard ways of when people want to question. It's, like I said, not all about books. It's about experience because of how the path is. Which is extremely hard, and I've seen it and I've experienced it myself. But yeah, so here's the video of the mini paths that I know of, at least. If I forgot anyone, literally you can just comment whoever, and their version of their own path of the tree, I guess you could call it at the moment, just for visualization of what I'm talking about. So yeah, have a great night.